Well, thank you very much for joining me, everyone. This is Jason, the Canadian YouTube creator, also known as Jason Cosmic RSSP Authority. My present subscribers, you guys know what RSSP stands for, right? But for you newbies out there, it stands for Real Secret Space Program. Way up there in space and way deep in space, millions of miles, is represented by my glorious photo in the infrared that says infrared photograph of one of the gigantic cylindrical objects taken by the Hubble all the way in the rings of Saturn. That's right. And we can know that's staffed by U.S. naval officers if you guys watch my previous videos. But this is going to be part 5 on the F35. We're going to take a real deep dive in Lockheed Martin's F35 today, my friends. Yes. I've got a real deep antipathy going on with Lockheed Martin. And if you guys watch my series, you'll know why. Because they are raiding the taxpayers globally now in nations really around the world, particularly in the United States and my beautiful, powerful country, Canada, the UK, and other countries, my friends. And it's a social moral injustice. It's totally should be criminal what they're doing. It's totally unconstitutional. That's why I'm doing these videos, my friends, to really break it down. So are you guys ready for my cacophony cavalcade conversation today? Are you ready for my deep, hardcore assessment and deep approximation, evaluation, investigation, and analysis on Lockheed Martin's F-35 Joint Striker Fighter, the JSF? Well, let's get into it again, okay? Because it's so important. All right? Now, remember, my friends, you know, the push, you see, Lockheed Martin, they've got 9 foreign nations involved in this thing, okay? It's just a total Duplicious business scam and scheme I described. This reclamation project, the most expensive, of course, military program and weapon system ever put forward, my friends. And that means the biggest scam on taxpayers. On a plane we absolutely do not need, my friends. No country needs fleets of F-35s, and really, particularly the United States, Canada, the likes of UK, Australia, all these countries that are involved, they don't even need one F-35. And it's a Turkey plane. Absolute. We'll get into why I say Turkey plane. Look at this thing. It's just ridiculous. But anyway. So, you know, this push for the inception of the whole JSF program, my friends, if you realize, right, Lockheed Martin, they wanted this to be globally and nationally this huge production system where all these other countries are involved, right? And the reason being, it wasn't for logistic purposes. The purposes wasn't for security, right? It was all to make this thing so that there was so much money put into it and it would be so big that there would be no going back. And that's where we've reached, my friends. There's been over $1 trillion put into this program for over 20 years. I think we're up to about 1.5 trillion. They've documented it's over $1 trillion. I think we're at least 1.5 trillion. They say it's going to be 1.5 trillion in the years to come. We're already at about 1.5 trillion or so, my friends. I mean, it's just astronomical. And again, all this money, it should be put towards a plane that we don't need, and it's a lousy plane at that. They've totally screwed up. The piss poor decisions we're going to get into, my friends, and all the problems with things, you can't even keep up with all the problems. It's just been a total debacle, total fiasco, a total letdown on the hearts and minds of people around the world, my friends. That's why all these other countries that are invested in it, in this program, and possibly procuring it, they're all up in arms because they know they can't afford the plane, my friends. I mean, the UK spent $2 billion on the second development phase of this thing. I mean, I'll never get over reading some of the numbers here. And my beautiful people, powerful country, Canada, I told you guys before, in Canada, we put in, I think it was 200 million on the first development phase, okay? Eventually we put in over $500 billion for over 20 years on this program. Again, and a plane that we don't need, okay, and we're never going to buy. It's just absolutely outrageous. And you know, again, 9 foreign nations involved. Remember, my friends, you got the likes of Australia, Denmark, Netherlands, Italy, right? Turkey's involved. You got foreign nations like Japan, okay, and the UK, of course, but foreign nations like Japan, South Korea, of course, Israel, right? I told you Israel were the first to probably create bloodshed using the F-35, bombing caves and tunnels in 2018 or 2019 there, right? And of course, the United States were bombing caves and tunnels to take out ISIS. I said in the last video, right? What better way to make your debut? They did it on a totally unsophisticated, undefended target with guys with rifles that are no threat to the United States, by the way. But we're bombing the shit out of these guys with rifles using a so-called sophisticated 5th generation stealthy fighter. Give me a break. I get so exasperated, guys, because this is just so outrageous. They're scamming and raiding the taxpayers, my friends. Lockheed Martin have shown no accountability. They're just totally unencumbered from any accountability and responsibility, particularly on this program, my friends, and so many other programs that they put in operation. We haven't even touched on the black budget technology, my friends, that are responsible, I believe, for hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of covert economic crime cash flows, contraband cash that can't be tracked, and they're delivering arms around the world. And guess who's the prime contractor of these black triangles, my friends, that are delivering all this stuff? It's Lockheed Martin. They're the prime contractor for most of these black triangles, my friends. And this is totally free energy, okay? Unlike the F-35. And this is called the TR-3B. We're going to be doing videos on it, my friends. This comes out of the Aurora space program. And it would literally leave those F-35s in the dust. Just like they did in the Belgium wave that over there in Belgium, my friends, where the Belgium Air Force was finally called, right, with the F-16s. They chased those black triangles, and right from takeoff, the black triangles, the TR-3B, left those F-16s at over 40 Gs in the dust. So obviously they do the same with the F-35. The F-35 isn't even as fast as the F-16. I mean, come on. This is just conventional technology with rockets. Totally not very good for our ionosphere at all. It's terrible for the environment. So let's get into the inception once again, my friends, of the JSF and the purpose of this thing. You know, the Pentagon, they wanted to, and Lockheed Martin, ultimately Lockheed Martin, we know, won the contract, right? The Pentagon and ultimately Lockheed, they wanted to create, you know, a jet plane, basically a do-what-you-all-can, a one warplane, one-size-fits-all, right? They wanted... So they wanted to replace a whole wide range of fighter jets, right? It was to replace things like your F-16 Falcon, your F-15A Eagle, pardon me. They wanted to replace like the A-10 Warthog, your FA-18 Hornet, which is the mainstay of the military. It's got very good performance for your conventional jet planes. And they wanted to replace the AV-8B Harrier. Okay, for the Navy, right? So what they did was they did a common design. The JSF program, they did a common design with 3 variants with using 80% of the parts. So you had your conventional F-35A for the Air Force, of course. You had your F-35B for the Marines, short takeoff, you know, thing, and short vertical takeoff eventually. It's called STOVL, S-T-O-V-L, all right? And then, of course, you had your F-35C for the Navy, all right? So, you know, they thought they could pull this off. Are you kidding me? You can't, you don't build a, just like Pierce Spray says, you don't try to build a jet plane that can, one jet plane to serve all 3 purposes, you know, of the armed forces here. It's just crazy. They knew what they were doing. They knew that by doing this ridiculousness, trying to build a plane to serve all 3 branches of the United States, and like I said, they pushed this thing globally and nationally for the production services of this thing. And the purpose was, like I said, my friends, it wasn't for domestically it wasn't for security, right? It was to make this thing so big that there'd be no going back. Again, my friends, it's just a huge, huge cash cow for Lockheed Martin. It absolutely is, my friends. It is total money pit. Okay? And it's disgraceful. It truly is. You know, I don't see any of these defense contractors, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, of course, none of them. Do you ever hear them donating money to charity? Do you ever hear them putting that money from defense contracts and the scamming, raiding of taxpayers? Do you ever hear them putting it in towards nursing homes or helping the quality nursing homes, helping maybe, you know, increase the wages of nurses out there that are working hard? A lot of beautiful nurses out there and doctors, the healthcare profession, in other words. Do you ever hear them doing that? I don't. Do you guys? I mean, this is nuts. They don't. You know? And they bring up all this warmongering, my friends. I agree that all countries, or a lot of countries, need a strong military. I get it, and that's fine. But they've gone way overboard, my friends, to say the least. I mean, come on. They've consolidated way too much power, these defense contractors, my friends, and it's all based on a lie, largely, right? From day one, for decades and decades, my friends, they just continue to lie. You know, they try to say, well, oh, we got to lie to our enemy. Give me a break. Give me a break. And they deceive and lie to the public, my friends, over and over again to try to convince you that there's a threat out there, right? The United States don't have a threat. They are armed to the teeth. Russia and China, Iran, the likes of North Korea, they don't have any inclination to try to attack the United States. Why would they? They know the United States are armed to the teeth, not only with jet planes, but I said, my friends, the black budget technology, like the TR-3B. These things are armed to the teeth. We've got a proliferation of them worldwide, my friends, seen by hundreds of thousands of witnesses by now, for decades, my friends. Okay, that's just one example. And so they're in low Earth orbit, geocentric orbit, and they are protecting the United States, which is a great thing. And they're protecting Canada and any other country they want to protect, my friends. That's the truth. That's the bottom line. And I give credit to Lockheed Martin in the fact that they've got some of the best engineers and scientists. They've made a lot of breakthroughs. And I still think there's some good people in Lockheed Martin, my friends. But largely, they're out of control. Again, they've consolidated way too much power. We see it with the F35 program in this debacle, my friends. And there's so much just warmongering and theft going on as well. I mean, it's just, it's insane, you know? So, again, my friends, remember, the JSF was to replace this wide range of jet planes. Now, keep in mind that originally they wanted to create a so-called stealthy plane for the Air Force. Remember, my friends, what I said in the other videos, and I learned from Pierce Spray, and Michael Schratt will tell you the same thing. Michael Schratt, the great aircraft aerospace historian, he learned from Pierce Spray, who's even more of an expert, has all the experience, my friends. This guy worked for many years as an analyst for the military, right? And he worked in the special office under Secretary of Defense for many years. He worked at Northrop Grumman back in the day as a statistician consultant for, you know, space travel commercial products. He's done it all, my friends. And he went to Cornell University. He studied things like, of course, aeronautical engineering, you know, research program, mathematical research there. So, my friends, this guy knows what he's talking about. And he tells you the F-35 is a turkey plane, that stealth is a scam largely in the military. Russia and China, as I said in my other videos, my friends, they figured out a long time ago how to get a radar section, you know, cross-section on these aircraft, right? They absolutely have. So again, that's just a scam. But anyway, they wanted to create a so-called JSF stealth design. Well, what that did was, at least at the very early dawn of the program, that meant that it didn't have internal weapons space on the plane, right? However, the Marines, of course, they wanted the inclusion of internal weapons bays on the plane. So that made it the weight increase more, as well as eventually the Marines, they wanted a vertical takeoff to replace the Harrier, right? That also increased more of the weight of the plane, which we'll get into later. Keep that in mind, okay? And then, of course, you had the F-35C, as I mentioned earlier, for the Navy, my friends. All right? Now, Again, my friends, it's such a huge mess for over 20 years, my friends. The whole Lockheed Martin F-35 has epitomized, as I keep saying, fraud, waste, mismanagement, abuse of spending, fiscal irresponsibility, and it might as well be theft, my friends. They have lied to us time and time again. And of course, there's many aspects on the F-35 and the testing that we'll never know about that'll be classified. But everything we do know about, my friends, it's just raiding the taxpayers. Totally unnecessary, my friends. Okay? And it's the same with going on in my country of Canada. Our Canadian government let Lockheed Martin basically persuade and con our Canadian government in going along with this program, as well as all these other nations, my friends. It's just ridiculous. And it's not right. It's a social moral injustice at the highest order, my friends. And we need public vitriol over this, and we need intelligent discourse. And we can do it respectfully, but be assertive and try to get out of this program somehow, my friends. Because what they want to do, right? They want to go baseline operational for another 18 years, my friends. We've already been involved in this thing at least 23 years now, right? Over 23 years. And they want to go baseline operational, raiding the taxpayers for 18 more years on a plane we absolutely don't need, my friends. Come on. You know, I was reading an article. One of the articles I read was by Popular Mechanics, and it was a good article overall. But keep in mind, my friends, I can guarantee you that 90-95% at least of people who write articles for Popular Mechanic magazine, even though it's a very popular magazine and they know a lot about jet planes, I guarantee you, my friends, they know very little, if anything, about the black budget technology. And they should look at the covert side, my friends, the black budget technology, because this is revolutionary non-plutonium physics. This is largely free energy. They're not relying on rockets to go all over the place. And it would literally leave the F-35s in the dust. But the Popular Mechanics magazines, they don't talk about that. They don't use the word that for Lockheed Martin, what they're doing, they don't use the word fraud. They don't use the word mismanagement, fiscal irresponsibility. They say it in so many words at times. And they don't mention that it was over $1 trillion spent on this program, okay? Now you hear things like it's a $1 trillion albatross flying. I call it a $1 trillion turkey plane that's flying around. Woo! I mean, it's unbelievable. And, you know, so again, my friends, they've already spent about, I would say, twice as much as sending a man to the moon on this program. That's right. They said in the years to come, it would cost more than twice as much as sending a man to the moon. We're already at that point, my friends. And I've told you before, and this is well documented, my friends, we've reached a point with the F-35 that it costs more to repair the aircraft than it does to fly it. I swear to God, my friends. I mean, and it costs like $32,000 per flying hour. I mean, way more than even the F-16. It's just unreal. Think about that, my friends. This is totally unnecessary. It's one thing to have defense contracts, my friends, but again, I wish the good people in Lockheed Martin, because I do think there's still some good people in Lockheed Martin, my friends. Why don't they get everybody together and compel yourselves? Get out of yourselves. Get out of your warmongering. Think about the public. Think about the nursing homes, the quality of our nursing homes, and what nurses are trying to do to help the sick. Think about the people that are sick, that are suffering and need healing. Why don't you put that money into hospitals and the old age homes, quality of nursing homes, etc.? Why don't you help with education? I don't hear them doing that, my friends, and that is a disgrace. It absolutely is. You know, that's reason, logic, common sense, my friends. You know, it seems like they try to brainwash the public. You know, this is what large parts of the governments do, right, my friends? It's like a psyop. They try to brainwash you into convincing you, oh, we need all this security and there's all these threats out there. They've done that all the way since the Cold War, my friends. And expert analysts will sometimes tell you that. They've always exaggerated foreign capabilities, for example, my friends, too. Okay? I mean, again, China and Russia are powerful in their own ways, but the United States the empire of the United States, my friends, there's no doubt about it. They're still number one when it comes to the black budget technology and overall with the planes and everything else. They are armed to the teeth. And remember, during the Reagan years, my friends, I'm getting off track here, but just important to note, during the 80s, during the Reagan years, remember, they had STS, Star Wars, right? The militarization of space. And that's significant, my friends, because that means, again, it just confirms, and you can see it with video evidence and photographic evidence and whistleblower testimony, etc., that the U.S. have significant space-based weapons and vehicles, classified vehicles in low Earth orbit, geocentric orbit, and deep in space, my friends. And so whoever controls the high ground controls the Earth. That's the bottom line, my friends. And the U.S. are there. So they don't be conned when Lockheed Martin's propaganda machine, for example, are telling you, oh, we need F-35s. It's all a scam, my friends. It's the Duplicious military business scheme, man. That's all it is. And it's the largest ever put forward in the history of mankind in the military, my friends. Okay? No doubt about it. Over $1 trillion spent on this program. And remember, my friends, okay? Remember, I told you, epitomizes fraud, waste, mismanagement, fiscal irresponsibility, inefficiency, of course. And that's been going on for over 20 years, my friends. And remember, talking about signifying over budget, of course, overselling of this plane, right? Behind schedule, to say the least, all these delays on the thing and cost overruns. You know, we thought the B-2 stealth bomber was, you know, what things were going out of whack with that program. Remember the B-2 stealth bomber, my friends? Remember how far over budget that thing was, and there was concerns on that? Well, the F-35 literally makes the B-2 stealth bomber look like a sandbox, my friends. Absolutely. The F-35, we know without a doubt, my friends, it is the poster child. This is another thing you won't hear from the likes of Popular Mechanics magazines or other articles. But it is the poster child for fraud, waste, abuse, mismanagement, fiscal irresponsibility, and inefficiency. And really incompetence, my friends. It absolutely is. Over $1 trillion spent on this program. I can't get over that, my friends. Right? It's just unbelievable. But it is happening, my friends. So, you know, and speaking over budget, remember, my friends, and I told you guys this in my series of the F-35, I hope you'll check it out. And I hope you'll subscribe to my channel, by the way. If you guys appreciate my intellectual honesty and my efforts in trying to bring transparency and being advocates for the truth with you guys. If you appreciate my efforts, I hope you will subscribe, share my videos, give me a like, and feel free to leave a comment, of course, okay? I appreciate it. I need your support. I want to take this channel to the next level with you guys' help, okay? So, speaking over budget, my friends, remember, 60 Minutes did a report even, and back in 2014, Lockheed Martin were over $163 billion over budget. That's right. And of course, I asked the question, just like Michael Schratt does, can Lockheed Martin be that inept with not following procurement? Can they be that incompetent to be $163 billion over budget? And of course, Michael Schratt and I know, the great aircraft aerospace historian Michael Schratt, my buddy, him and I know, of course, the answer is no, they can't be that incompetent, my friends. Something else is going on. And I've told you before, that money, a lot of that money, my friends, is going towards the top secret, highly classified, amazing, real technology, the real exotic technology, the black budget technology, things like the TR-3B, my friends. And there's all kinds of these black triangles out there, okay? There's no doubt about it. And probably our underground, under ocean bases as well, some of the money going towards that. We know we got a significant amount of underground, under ocean bases. It would blow your mind how many bases we've got worldwide, my friends. Some researchers actually estimate the United States may have up to 2,000 underground bases. I wouldn't be surprised. And certainly underneath the oceans. And we've got USOs, unsubmergible objects, coming out of the oceans, seen by witnesses worldwide, my friends. I've told you this before, particularly in Malibu at the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean. And those are tracked on radar going into space. These are known facts, my friends, but you got to look at it and just collect the data points and the evidence. So this is all very important to know, my friends. You've got to look at the covert side, the black budget technology, and that's the lion's share of the economy, okay? We'll be doing future videos on the missing trillions again for you guys, okay? So, again, I talked about how over budget they were, my friends. And remember, let's get into the rocky years of this program, okay? And a lot of the problems. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. So, I told you before about the weight of the F-35, my friends. In 2000, so the decade after 2003, there was over 12 major setbacks with this ridiculous plane and program, my friends, this reclamation project, right? In 2004, for example, they reported the F-35B for the Marines, that jet plane where they tried to design the vertical takeoff, and eventually you'll hear me tell you in this video that, friends, they had to actually increase the length of the takeoff and reduce the radius of the craft, but we'll get into that later. But so the F-35B, my friends, because of they had to redo the engines on this thing again because the Marines wanted a vertical takeoff, so they had to get thousands of engineers hired, right, to build all this this new engine for the thing, and that also increased the weight big time to where it was over 2,000 pounds overweight, my friends. Yes. They boistered basically a bulky, fat airframe on this thing, and that's why you got people like Pierce Spray, the expert, and other F-35 critics. They'll tell you it's a fat turkey. Look at it. Or Pierce Spray's even called it a lemon. I mean, it's got hardly any wings on it. I mean, come on. It can hardly turn. You know, I've always said, my friends, and Pierce Spray will tell you the same thing, Michael Schreck. What the hell is this thing going to do in a low-altitude ground troop support operation? Nothing. And yet, they had the nerve to say at the beginning of the program era, my friends, they were saying, oh, it would be 4 times more effective than, you know, the older legacy aircraft in air-to-air combat. It was going to be eight times more effective in air-to-ground combat, which is horse shit too, excuse my language, my friends. And they said it was going to be, 3 times more effective for reconnaissance and, you know, suppression of enemy basically fighters on the ground there. Come on. You know, again, that's all lies, my friends. It's really not. Come on. Anyway, so again, you had the increased weight in 2004, so they had all kinds of problems with that. And then in 2006, I don't know how many of you were aware of this, there was a suspected Chinese intrusion of the software, of the electronics, basically F-35 design. There was a Chinese intrusion where they stole several terabytes of data, okay? And so that caused more delays, you can imagine, more expenses as well. And in 2012, there was another cyber intrusion. I think it was even more significant, where they actually basically intruded on the ABE systems of the F-35, which is their flight control systems. It's in charge of the software, the electronic warfare systems, the afterburner fuselage, and the horizontal vertical tails, my friends. So as you can imagine, what they had to do? They had to revamp basically the whole software and hardware of the thing, right? Absolutely. And I almost forgot to mention, I said in the last video, my friends, one of the major problems from the very beginning and up till now is they wanted to do, the Pentagon's bright idea was they wanted to have like an economics of scale. That means they wanted to produce all the same sort of parts, the same thing, have this mass production of scale so they could dramatically reduce the unit cost of the plane. They actually thought maybe they could pull this off, apparently. But what happened was, of course, and another way of saying it, my friend, is that they wanted concurrency of development. Okay, that means they wanted to build production planes while at the same time doing ground research design and experimental flight testing. And what happened? And what do we see going on now, my friends? Well, they're building the first planes, of course, in 2018, 2019 in particular. They're building all the first planes before the experimental testing is even fully realized, my friends. You don't do that. So sure enough, what happened? Well, when the military and Lockheed Martin F-35, when they started doing the flight testing, what happened? Oh, all of a sudden they had, of course, they had all this major problems with the structural and electronic modifications. So that caused even more delays and expenses, my friends. I mean, just again, just totally outrageous. And showing incompetence right there. I mean, but that's all part of the scam, I think, in a way, my friends. Again, a huge cash cow for Lockheed Martin. All these delays, you know, so much money going into training programs too, my friends. That's another part of where a lot of the money's going. And it goes into the pockets, largely of Lockheed Martin, my friends. Absolutely. And a lot of covert economic crime cash flows, therefore, my friends. And I haven't even touched hardly on the black budget technology, my friends. This is a large part of where the money's going, I believe. That's reason, logic, common sense. You know, I made it my life goal, my friends, to try to penetrate that black budget technology, okay? So I bring that up because the F-35 is totally different, my friends. This is largely has been a distraction for over 20 years, my friends. And I can guarantee you, at least 90% of the military that are involved in things like the F-35, you know what I find fascinating? A lot of them, including the pilots, they don't even know hardly anything about the black budget technology, my friends. They don't look at the classified world with the same prime contractor, Lockheed Martin. Their same prime contractor, Lockheed Martin. These guys are so wrapped up in their own programs, my friends, and the warmongering to do with the F-35 and these other conventional jet planes, they don't look at the evidence that is worldwide of the black triangles, my friends, okay? And they're building this stuff in places like Lancaster, Palmdale there, at Building 6, for example, where you got a significant amount of medium to highly classified vehicles in Building 601, actually, it is. Hint, hint, I might just have an informant at Lockheed Martin, guys. You never know. Got to keep the classified guys on their toes. You know what I'm saying? I'm having so much fun this video, guys. Thank you very much for listening right now. So I just want to sum up a few more things here, my friends, about the rocky parts of and all the problems. So again, problems with the weight, right, of the F-35B. It got so bad, actually, my friends, with the F-35B and the F-35A that in 2012, the Secretary of Defense, Gates there, Bill Gates, I believe, he actually fired the JSF programmer. The last name is Hines, somebody, and that caused more delays, as you can imagine. And then the F-35B was almost canceled in 2011, I believe, in 2010. Or 2011, 2012, it was almost canceled. Well, I wish it was canceled, my friends. And it got so bad that the Pentagon, they actually had to make a compromise, and I'm glad they did. Isn't it too bad? The Pentagon had to actually they had to lengthen the takeoff on the F-35B, okay? They had to reduce the radius of the F-35A for the Air Force by 15 miles, and they agreed to also reduce the estimated by 15 miles, and you know, that the flights across the transatlantic, you know, a few years ago there and recently, they had to do that 15 times to refuel, my friends. Think about that. You don't have to refuel with the real technology, my friends. Again, the black budget technology, which we're going to do videos on. I mean, it's just so outrageous. Okay? I mean, come on. So, and then you had problems with the helmet-mounted queuing systems, of course. You had inadequate rejection seats. You had inadequate logistic hardware systems of the thing, my friends. I haven't even mentioned, although I've touched on other videos, of course, they've had major problems with sensors, with the computers, with the cockpit displays. I mean, and here they are again, my friends. What are they doing with all this sophisticated technology, 5th generation fighter? They're bombing caves and tunnels with militants with rifles. I can't get over that, my friends. I mean, they could use other planes, of course, we all know, to bomb caves and tunnels. And the point with the F-35, my friends, this thing was supposed to be designed as a predecessor, you know, for World War I, World War II. It was supposed to be for power, you know, to bomb powerful countries for big war, right? Countries with big time capabilities. Well, There's no opportunity, my friends, for the F-35. There's no real opportunity, as I said in one of my videos, for the F-35 to encounter sophisticated enemy with sophisticated sensors or surface-to-air missiles. Certainly not ISIS in caves and tunnels. Certainly not the Taliban hiding in caves and tunnels, which we also bombed, and so did the Israeli Air Force using the F-35s and F-22s. No, my friends. And if you're going to bomb, as I said in the other video, if you're going to try to bomb Iran or North Korea or Russia, China, these powerful countries, my friends, then we know the technological prowess, in other words, of the F-35, that is going to be the least of the Lockheed Martin and America's concerns, right? Absolutely. And they're not going to bomb these countries. I certainly hope not. You know, come on. So, you know, we got to get in perspective here, I think, my friends. We need to use discernment. We need to use reason, logic, common sense. And we need to be strong, my friends. We need to be vindicated. We need to get our power and sovereignty back. And that means getting the truth. And reading articles, for example, on the F-35, my friends, and listening to real experts like Pierce Sprague, okay? Even my buddy Michael Schratt as well, my friends, okay? Because, again, the F-35 has been a scam from day one, my friends, okay? All these, and again, it's just mammoth, elephant-sized defense contracts we're talking here, my friends. You know, again, Lockheed Martin's whole purpose was based on a lie, my friends. They didn't have a purpose for logistic purposes, for production, you know, to spread this thing worldwide, or for security purposes. No, the purpose was to spread this thing so wide, my friends, to put so much money invested in the thing, again, largely going into Lockheed Martin, that there's no going back. And so this is the fight that we have to have on this thing, my friends. And believe me, if I get a chance to talk to our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, in my powerful country, Canada, him and I are going to have a talk. And I'm going to lay him straight, respectfully but firmly. I'm going to tell him, Justin, why did you have the nerve? Why would you put Canada on the hook to shoulder the burden of a greater share in the investment of these fighter jets when we absolutely, you know, we don't even need one F-35 jet, that we're never going to purchase a fleet of F-35s because we don't need it and we can't afford it. So why would you do that? Why would you increase it from Harper's government, who had an investment of 66 planes in 2010, which is also ridiculous, right? And then Justin Trudeau, he put an increase for 88 planes that we may or may not buy. We won't buy them, by the way, my friends. So I would tell Justin, why would you do that? You know, why would you sell your soul, in other words? Because that's what you're doing, my friends. You're basically selling your soul, raiding your own country's taxpayers' dollars on this thing with your government, the Liberal government. It's just insane. And it's not right. Social injustice in my country too, my friends, what's going on here, right? And yeah, again, my friends, all these other nations, we got a coalition of nations involved in the investment and procurement of this aircraft, and that's why they're up in arms, my friends, because they know they can't afford it in the end. But they allowed themselves to be conned, my friends, including my country, Canada. And we got to stop this nonsense. All right? And my friends, I haven't even listed, there's other problems associated with the F-35, major setbacks too, but the ones I listed, I think they're pretty good drawbacks to tell you guys and describe today on this video. Okay? So many problems with this aircraft, and continues to be, my friends. I've told you before, again, it costs more to repair the aircraft than it does to fly it, my friends. There's major problems and major expenses with trying to get repair parts, for example, on the F-35, right? Absolutely. And the whole design flaws, my friends, it's just so astronomical. And so much incompetence shown, really. And yet Lockheed Martin have some of the best engineers and scientists. That's why they never have to be mad at me, my friends. I give them credit where credit's due. But stop gouging the taxpayers. And the Pentagon needs to be blamed too, of course, my friends. It was their bright idea in the first place. But then again, my friends, who's controlling the Pentagon? Who's controlling the data in the U.S. federal government? Guess what defense contractor is doing this, my friends? It's Lockheed Martin. They're controlling all the data in the U.S. federal government. That's a serious problem. And I've described in other videos, my friends, the great Catherine Austin Fitts, who worked under HUD, Housing and Urban Development, Secretary of the Federal Housing there, she told dark journalists, my friends, and so she's telling you the truth, obviously, because she was working for Housing and Urban Development, that anytime she went to get data from HUD or DOD or whatever it was always blocked by Lockheed Martin. That's right. And what was really interesting, anytime she went to get the contracting paperwork that came out of HUD, it was always controlled by Lockheed Martin, my friends. Again, and as well as many other agencies within the federal government. So you've got a military contractor controlling the data in the U.S. federal government. That is a serious, serious problem, my friends, and we need to fix that. Okay? So thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you being gracious with your time. Live strong. Have a great day. I hope you'll absorb the information. I hope you appreciate my visceral engagement with you guys out there and gals. And I hope you guys will be my friends and subscribe to my channel. Let's take it to the next level. Okay? I want to get more subscribers and eventually sell my shirts. I've got several subscribers, thankfully, that want to buy my shirts. But obviously, I got to, make enough money so I don't go in debt. Okay? So I hope you'll subscribe and give me the thumbs up. And more great videos to come, my friends. We may do another video, another deep dive on the F35, okay, with more facts. But I'm just about there on covering all the aspects, all the important aspects, I think, that we need to know about the F35, my friends. We absolutely do not need this plane, my friends. No country does, really. Particularly in the powerful countries of the United States, Canada, UK, and other countries, my friends. And yet they're all invested in this thing now, so many of them. And we're going to be talking about the black budget technology in the future, my friends. We're going to really break down this amazing TR-3B black triangle, and the prime contractor is Lockheed Martin. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. More great videos to come, I hope.